I'm Alana Rutner.
And I'm Jared Rutner, and we are the grandchildren of Bernard Schanzer, or as we affectionately call him, Pepe. And Pepe is someone who, when you get to know him, is someone who possesses a genuine zest for life, someone who lights up the room with his optimism and friendliness and genuineness. He is someone who at every family event, whether that be a Shabbos dinner, Thanksgiving meal, everyone is trying to vie for his attention. They're trying to grab just a few minutes with Pepe to try to gain and just be around him as much as they can.
My great-aunt Irene went through the Holocaust as one of the Mengele twins. These are the sets of twins that Dr. Mengele performed many inhumane experiments on. She had countless nasty tests performed on her and her brother. However, despite all the terror and horror that she went through, whenever I see her, she always has a smile on her face. She's always full of energy and extremely happy to be alive, and that has inspired me in my life, not just to be a happier person, but also to be a better person.
My grandmother, Vera Schulman, is a Holocaust survivor, and I can honestly say no one has ever heard her utter a single negative word or complaint. She is by far the most grateful, positive person that I have ever met, and even when she would relay stories of her time in the concentration camps, she always stressed the Yad Hashem, the nace, the opportunity for growth, and any glimpse of positive in any situation, she was able to find it.
My great-grandfather never kept quiet about his experiences, and from as far back as I can remember, and even now, he tells us his stories over and over again. When I was younger, I used to tell him, "Grandpa, I know this one already," but as I got older, I realized that that's the point. To have these stories ingrained within me and all of his great-grandchildren, and to remember them and never forget.
In 1945, my grandmother at a young age was taken from her home in Hungary and sent to Auschwitz, where her and her siblings survived. She was a positive person who put an emphasis on family, believing the only way to move on from the tragedy was creating a family with a strong Jewish pride. Her presence had a great impact on the way I saw myself as a Jew. This was a main reason I enlisted into the Israeli Defense Forces, knowing that if she were here today, she would have never believed her grandchildren would one day be protecting other Jews and carrying on the pride of being Jewish.
The one thing that I learned from my grandfather was even after the war, he was very down and depressed, and I don't think even till the end of his life that ever changed, but he saw a bigger picture and said, I need to continue on for my kids and for my generation.
For as long as I can remember, I was aware that my grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and that was something that set her apart from my other grandparents. Her past was never a secret. My grandmother regularly speaks and inspires audiences all over the world. She tells of her memories, her passion for life as a Jew, her indebtedness to the rare and few righteous Gentiles that did not lose their moral compass at a time when the world was upside down. Her passion to tell the world her story and keep the memory alive is unbelievable.
A lot of the Holocaust survivors where I grew up in Slovakia have really interesting stories about where they hid, remnants that they have from the war and memories, but one really important thing that I got from them is the lesson that the best revenge against the Germans is just to go on in life and be happy. When I ask a lot of them how they're so happy, so they just say, it's just something that's the way you live, and if someone does something wrong to you, so you just say thank you and move on. I think that's something really powerful.
I think growing up with two grandparents who were Holocaust survivors really instilled within me and the other grandchildren a tremendous understanding of the necessity for a strong Jewish identity and a commitment to the State of Israel. When you grow up with two grandparents who are living reminders of all of the struggles and sacrifices of the Jewish people, it becomes very clear that we have no other option, and it is our strength and our commitment to our Judaism, as well as the State of Israel, that will keep us strong.
Both my dad's parents survived the Holocaust, my Bubby and my Zadie, and they both taught me very unique things. One of the most important things I think my Bubby has taught me is that you have to stand up for what you believe in, and that you can't let anyone dictate you or tell you what to do if that's not what you believe and what you believe is right.
My grandmother, as a young child, was hidden by a righteous Gentile for a long duration of the war. She was forced to practice Christianity in order to blend in as a means to protect her life. She has taught me to remain persistent in tough situations and to always stay true to my Jewish identity.
My grandmother, Henriette Siebenberg, was born in France and spent most of her childhood hiding in a Catholic foster home away from the Nazis. She was raised as a Christian away from her mother, who was not allowed to visit her, and from her father, who had died earlier in Auschwitz. I thank God for the privilege of allowing me to grow up with my grandmother. She always tries to make everyone happy, always helping to settle fights. She's always trying to find the best of every situation and embracing life. She's always up for new experiences. She even went skydiving with me for my 18th birthday. She was 85 years old at the time. She's the most important person in my life, and I love her dearly.
I think that having a grandmother who went through the Holocaust has impacted me in a lot of different ways, and I think the most important thing that my grandmother taught me was that each human life is invaluable. And what that has taught me is that today it is so important to stand up for human life and to stand up for every individual and make sure that nothing like the Holocaust ever happens again.
Growing up, knowing that I am the grandchild of 4 Holocaust survivors, and often hearing their life stories, whether it have been from themselves or from my parents, has taught me so much. I learned that I exist today because of not only one miracle, not even one series of miracles, but 4 lives full of miracles. I learned that probability states that none of us should be here, and yet we are, and that privilege comes with great responsibility to have the maximum positive impact on the world in which we were placed. I learned the power of resilience and emunah, and how a persecuted, reduced Yid is a Yid nonetheless. So many Holocaust survivors who barely made it through the horrors of the Holocaust began working to repair and strengthen the Jewish nation immediately upon being freed. I learned that true revenge against the Nazis is possible, and that it takes shape in proving just how human we are, in building families of strong, religious nationalists who are fiercely loyal to each other and are proactive in the affairs of their lives and of the world at large.